know June is not normally a meeting month, but we kind of got some things we gotta cover. All of which is good. But please join me in the pledge and the prayer. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, bless this meeting. Give us the strength and the fortitude to do what is right for the children within our council. Give us the knowledge and wisdom to succeed at our endeavors. Through your grace, we pray, O Lord. Amen.
Amen.
On my honor,
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Very good. Well, like I was saying, thanks all for being. We usually take off, but we got some things we got to take care of. All of you all have seen the split ups of the proposed or the districts.
I don't think it's proposed at this
It's not proposed anymore.
It's the real deal.
It's the deal.
Yeah, everything's official in the system.
All right, everything's official. So what we're trying to do is we're going to take all of us and centrally locate all of us into one meeting, which is going to be, we're trying to do it on a Thursday, because we had some talks about people not being able to make Tuesday. Wednesday is busy, so we're going to move it to the second Thursday. The third Thursday. That's correct. And so right now we're still dealing with if we're going to be here or we're going to be more central. Once we find out that information, we'll put it all out there. But as it stands, South, Central, Western,
And Red State?
are all together. So we'll be meeting all together and hopefully be meeting consistently. We did have talks about whether we wanted to do this also on YouTube and Zoom. So people who couldn't make it could still be zoomed in.
Mm-hmm.
So we have everybody's email. We'll get everybody the Zoom link.
We could probably post it on Zoom, record it,
Correct.
and then post it on YouTube.
And YouTube.
That's what I was thinking.
So we'll have all the bases covered. Zoom will allow us to answer questions and go forth, and move forward with, what we have going on.
We talked about
Yes,
Yes, starting in August.
with the breakouts too. Cubs, Scouts, BSA, SPLs.
right. So yeah, that I can add. Were you the one with me when we were talking about the SPLs in North Shore? They're remote. They're
They also have a breakout rate.
okay. I do have an adult who I finally found the right thing to bring him in a little bit and get him a little bit more involved other than just unit. And he says, yeah, I kind of intrigued by that idea. So I think he's gonna take it on. I've got somebody to coach him for a meeting or two.
Good deal. That's our SPL.
That's our SPL group.
So if y'all, just to clarify, we're gonna invite all the SPLs from all the troops to the meetings on the third Thursday, so they can commute each other going into it. So, whoever your SPL is, they'll please let us know what their email is so we can get them the information they need to come to the meetings and be part of the meetings. And also,
Or designate if they can't make it.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Or
our
you-
SPL. So probably, really SPLs and, ASPLs, troop leaders, so will help us figure out how to get that. One idea we had talked about was, and it kind of carries forth, if they're doing events like camporees and things like that, this gives them that venue to meet. Well, with our past young man who was kind of spearheading, last camper replanning, Nick, he probably has a pretty good list or good relationship. One, avenue to go in, but, everybody, you know, it's all encourage your SPL. They can do some planning. There's a really cool thing at the last day of NYLT that I think this is a good opportunity for them. You have a session that's an hour, hour and a half, something like that, on a couple of youth leaders that are on staff, and then, you know, there's a few adults around when it gets a little bit above their head. But it's, talk about problems you have in your troop. Hey, I've got somebody who, you know, I can't get them energized, they don't wanna be there, what should I do? So I think that's a good place, you know, they can maybe help each other.
Are you still looking for, you still need unit commissioner? Anything else?
The more people we have talking, the better.
Absolutely. Everybody,
I think everybody here is one.
I'm not filling out paperwork.
We probably filled it out for you.
That's good.
everybody was at summer camp, heard about summer camp, everybody's doing fine with summer camp? Does anybody know? As far as, I know you just got back from Seabay.
We got from Sea-Base, and then of course the ones that weren't eligible to go, they're actually going with Ron and Mr. Beatty over to
To V-Bar.
V-Bar, yeah.
And they're doing that this week or next week?
Next week.
So y'all are doing that together?
Yeah.
How's that
Juan,
worked for you? I mean, I know how the camp doesn't care, I'm just, how
we,
the
we did
units
this
work.
we did this last year with 65, and we crossed, and, they liked it. In fact, I was telling him earlier, my SPL was asking if we were going back with the same guys from last year, because they missed them. So they seem to like it, and the 65's gonna be up there again, so it's like a small
Yeah,
stream of group
camporee
up there.
contingent, I mean, I think, you know,
I think
Jason and I have talked about that forever.
I mean,
We got a lot of small units, that's I think the only
and
effective way.
if you can pull resources, then yeah, do it.
Yeah, I mean,
you
this
know,
is,
I mean,
that was random and worked out. I mean, with Beatty, that was helping him out, because they had 4, we had 12, so.
yeah.
So how do we talk about this earlier? Reason I ask is 205 has 4 kids going next week. They happen to be going to Hood. But, you know, we could have done more. So is that something, you know, do we talk about it around, you know?
Well, and part of the, and program committee is trying to work through too, and us getting camp back at Avondale. So add that 150, but if you're talking about, you know, more seasons kid, I know V-Bar is struggling, they have less than 200 kids total for the 2 weeks of camp that they're doing.
Okay, so they're about the same state we
We
were
were
a couple of
in,
years ago.
yeah.
So, any clue on their numbers from, did they do a Thanksgiving and winter last
Yeah, they
year?
do winter.
They used to do
They
two.
did both of them last year,
Okay.
Thanksgiving and
They
Christmas.
did do both?
Yeah, we went to their Thanksgiving, yeah.
Any idea how many? The dining hall holds about 400. Okay, but I mean, if it's half full, that's 200.
Was it? Yeah, I thought so. And I liked the good thing, you could go, like, we went up Saturday morning and left Sunday evening. And they did a bash Saturday morning, bash Saturday evening, bash Sunday morning, bash Sunday evening.
Interesting. So that'll be a thought for.
That is a good, I
program.
mean, that's,
Yeah, I think we have our first year scout program facilitator locked down, sending in the material. Yeah, that'd be good. He wants to incorporate some of the MYLT youth to help facilitate the program, so that's good. But
What Mountain Bayou does, Lost Bayou, whatever you wanna call them, they change their name every other year. But, it's a full day is a block. You have,
it's vertical planning programming.
but yeah,
and it seems to work for them, especially if you're only able to get an instructor in, for that 1 day or maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
We just got back from, Sky Mount, and they did, a morning session and an afternoon session. And my son's classes, he had the same classes Monday and Wednesday mornings, and Tuesday and Thursday mornings, and then the same classes in the afternoons. So,
How was the attendance at Scamba?
they had, a small week of about 180, 200 kids, and that was their smallest of the 3 weeks that they were gonna be.
So they are still running the 3 weeks?
Yeah.
You know, they had to drop it this year, they said last year was 4.
Right.
And
So they had to drop one.
They had to drop a week.
Yeah, we have one of our units there this week too. I know because we got it incident report.
Well, that's interesting.
And then, yeah. But, I mean, I've been doing vertical programming for years because it's easier to get, especially if you're trying to get a professional.
Yeah.
Veterinarian, for example, you can get them for that day instead of trying to ask them to come out 3-4 days. So, we're looking at incorporating all that stuff.
But I mean, all those ideas, bring them to the program committee. to
Yeah,
help us
please attend the
figure
meetings.
out-
I had, the first one we had, was Holy Thursday, and, I had to go to mass. And then the next one, I was moving my son out of the dorm. So I'm planning to be there as much as possible, and hopefully with this new schedule, we'll be able to keep a lot of people coming to the program meetings, the district meetings, and all that. All right, anything else we need to cover?
Pulling up the agenda for.
Yeah, pull up the agenda.
Margaret mentioned that emails
Yeah.
for the renewals for August are starting to be sent out.
Yes,
there
she
should
sent me a blurb. Let me. Okay, beginning in August 2023, registrations was for a 12-month period. We're now at the point where people are due to renew their registration. So I think last week is when the first round went out. Beginning 45 days before the person's registration expires, emails will be sent as a reminder with a link that takes the person directly to the renewal process. In addition, each month an email is sent to the Unit Key 3 listing all the members that need to renew. We're still working on getting some more information on the process. So that was her.
But, it's gonna be a fully automated thing. You just put your credit card number in.
It can be, or you can opt out, and the unit,
Right.
I mean, there's some obstacles there. But yeah, you get a renewal email 60 days out, 30 days out, 15 days out, 1 day out, 7 days past. There's still the 2-month lapse period, and then you're dropped. They're still working through some bugs. I know that's not a surprise. Like if you have multiple registrations, you might receive emails for all of them instead of just your paid primary. So even if you pay them one until they all sync up, you may get multiple emails. So just keep us posted if that's the case or whatever. They're working on converting to a single user system, ID system. And that's coming from the new CEO that came in, and he said, my first day I went in and he searched up his record and he had 17 different records, none of them
Yeah,
connected.
and none of them, that's how I am too, because my name is David, but everybody knows me by Jason, so I got multiples.
Yeah.
So.
And we used to be able to merge profiles in-house, but we can't anymore. It's just a process. He's brought in a new chief information officer. He's, his former company was very high end in technology, and he wants working on that, but
Wants it all streamlined.
right.
And the other thing that I have a problem with is like with Scout Book, because ever since I re-registered with district, I have no access to my Scouts records within my troop.
Yeah,
So that's one of the, so,
that might be a Margaret.
yeah, I just need to get that worked out. But it hadn't affected anything, I just got one or the other. It says a Scout Master says log in,
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Do you have anything, Jeremy?
The agenda's on the board.
Perfect. with the upcoming event dates.
Let's see, training.
So if we have not seen an email, that's not necessarily bad. If we
Yeah,
no.
didn't register anybody,
In August of last year, and there's only a handful, it was a small registration in August of last year, September would be the busier month.
right,
So next month, they should get that.
If you
That
paid,
45
if you
days
paid
or
in
something.
January, then during recharter, then January is when you're going to get the email,
December,
or December, yeah,
yes, it's the prior month.
30 days before.
Because if whatever month you register, that counts as month one, and then it's 11 more months.
All right, our membership person isn't here. We just need to come up with some opportunities to get out there and definitely in the Ascension, St. John, St. James area. You look at those numbers, those are pretty haunting. Because whenever we merged the districts, there was, where we had Rob, I mean, it was,
And it was about what that total is when we merged.
yeah.
It was,
I believe it.
And so, we're trying to make inroads, we gotta do superintendent of the schools. Hopefully we can, start reusing schools again as places to meet, and I know this would kill a lot of our cubs. So we're trying to make inroads and get back in there.
She's been receptive, it's just a matter of going through the process with her
Right,
and her comfort.
is that to go in for roundups or is that for meetings?
And roundups.
We never had a problem. We went straight to our principal last year and.
There was a handful of schools, but we're trying to do it. She wants it consistent across the board.
right, yeah. So, and that's where you and I know, I mean,
Yeah.
we dealt with that constantly.
I had a parent that knew the principal at each school, and that's the ones that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Edith wants, she wants it to be, one of us, on staff to go in and do the same presentation but then, she's wanting to, she hasn't gone through it. And so she wants to grab all the kids out of class and put them in a central place for the presentation. I said, you're interrupting 5 times the amount,
yeah.
you don't need to do it that way. We can be in and out in 3 minutes, not disturb the class any more than that. And if you're taking them and moving them somewhere, you're taking 15, 20 minutes out of their day instead of.
Right, I mean, just in logistics.
Right. So we're just working through that. Hopefully we have that, but we'll be in touch on the principals and schools and realigning some stuff, because we want the charter organization or the meeting place to be within that school district. We're not gonna be crisscrossing anymore.
Right.
We need to look at it through the 3-year plan, 5-year plan on how we're gonna grow, and that's why we're creating the additional district, additional support through staffing and focus, because we don't to only have 100 kids or whatever in Ascension is.
So you want the charter and the meeting place to be within the.
Right, eventually, within 5 years, we'll have one PAC, one school,
Right.
is what the plan is, like it should be, so it's not awkward family reunion.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have 3 schools now, but we meet not where the schools are, but it's Ascension, it's all in the
Right,
same
it just
area.
needs to be it needs to be a 10 to 15 minute.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, so the
So
perimeter,
it's
it's all
convenient for
10.
everybody.
Right, but when Christina and when she went through Chris went through the whole thing with me, she's like, okay, we're up here, but we're having to go all the way out here, and that doesn't, we need to
Right,
massage
most of
that.
them in Ascension are already like that, there might be some in Baton Rouge. that are
Right, we're
not,
just
but-
gonna realign. We're gonna go back to the basic fundamentals and have some resolution in the next couple weeks on staffing.
Sound good, and that goes back to recruitment. I didn't know what we had as far as training.
do I remember seeing was there shooting sports last weekend or this weekend?
Shooting sports was like
And at the end of
2
May.
weekends ago, end of May.
Okay.
And
And that
then
went well.
we were kind of in discussion about doing trainings
Okay.
available to everybody through each individual district. I think was what we really started to try to do.
Yeah. But, Norm's our VP of program, and we're rebuilding that structure and support.
So there's a lot of things changing, a lot of things happening, but, you know, the overall view is it's all gonna be food and beverage.
Well, we're working to utilize our resources, so whenever you have more than one district together, it's called a service area, and it's typically led by a field director. So the service area here is the capital service area is what we came up with. And so that, you know, then Neshoba North Shore is part of the eastern service area, by themselves, you know, for now at this point. And so, you know, we're gonna have service area roundtables where, you know, the Western might have a designated spot in Point Capee or something like that where they go to congregate, but, you know, they zoom in and have breakouts and all that stuff with us, where we'll have a central meeting area, because, you know, for a session, it's not necessarily a big deal to come up this way.
Yeah, but over on the other side, it's difficult.
Right. So, and then, you know, the timeline on that is probably for the next 2 years or so until we build up some mass again to be able to support.
Yeah, each individual district.
Right.
All right, upcoming events, VR Scout Day Camp.
Right now.
That's it. Waddell, and I did hear, I don't know if you knew, they were looking for scouts to help if anybody's got any kids available.
Yeah, got 3 days left. So, okay. It's 9 to 2. So a nice little half day of service.
And so we do have a back to the pack, 19th and the 14th, right?
It's the 9th, and then Tammy had, I had messaged Tyrone to get clarification on that. So the 9th was one, and then I think
That was our replacement this meeting night.
right, so the 9th and the 27th are the dates that are on the calendar of July.
Right.
So I was trying to confirm that, so that's what Tammy
Yeah, on the
had.
calendar, it says the 9th.
And are we still
Okay, is
doing,
there anything on the 27th or no?
27th is Central District, yeah,
Okay.
it's got it for both.
Okay, that's what Tammy had, so I didn't know about the 2 nights, but.
okay, so is it the 9th
I guess
or the
I
20th?
guess we'll send out confirmation.
And didn't we have a Beaver and Eagle?
July 21st, and that invitation will be going out, hopefully tomorrow. The website's live. It's iacbsa.org/Court of Honor. So it's the Council Court of Honor is what we're calling it this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw Council Washington call it that, and I was like, that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
So.
So, y'all participate in that, and see if the Eagles go.
So we're also doing the class of 23 and 24 up to this point. Because we're changing everything to the program year.
Right.
So it'll be 23, 24, next year will be 24, 25.
Gotcha.
It'll probably be in late April next year, but next year's gonna be a completely different format, we hope. We're working on a big venue change and program change.
So what are we trying to do for this year as a unit? Are we,
Get your Eagles there from 23, 24.
okay,
We'll have some Silver Beaver recipients and then a NOESA recipient. And so just, driving people there, getting families there. Basically it's copy and paste from last year. I think it's, the website, it's at Denham Springs again this year.
Yeah, and it also says, so is that Silver Beaver recipient veterans?
No, it's,
People that have received it in the past?
if you guys submit the veterans application, then the veterans will be recognized.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if Tammy updated the copy on the website. Is there a PDF download attachment at the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay, so that, is it the red, white, and blue? Let's see, if it's red, white, and blue, and that's the one that,
so it's July,
21st, Sunday afternoon, like it was last year. Check-in starts at 4, program starts at 4:30, we should be done by 6. I think they had like 4 to 8, I'm like, no, we're not. Yeah, So yeah, so that's all the information.
Yeah, this is a good turnout on this.
Yeah, I think we're limited like to 150 people, 150 people in that facility, so. This will be the last one. The hope next year is to really expand the program and have an opportunity to connect Eagle Scouts with mentors in the career fields that they're looking at.
That'd be awesome.
Hoping to have it at the PMAC.
Good deal.
And just do it on a bigger scale, but.
Trying to think when my oldest son got in.
Well, there's 59 Eagles in 23, and then I don't know how many so far this year, but Margaret's doing the list out, so we'll get that sent out. That's it tomorrow. We just finalized this today as far as
So
the language and stuff.
that's going to unit key threes, Eagles, everybody?
Yeah, basically all adults and
Okay.
unit key threes and whoever emailed that address that Margaret pulled for the Eagle Scouts. So, we will be asking for sponsors for the Eagle. I think I don't know if it's 20 or 40 bucks. I know that the fee is 20 bucks for kids, 40 bucks for adults.
Yeah.
So that'll go on also.
And then, open positions, finance membership program, which we're having a program director, so hopefully we'll be able to have someone.
And we're identifying nominating committee chairs and have that meeting set up in November for next year. So
Right. And then we had talked about a nominating committee.
Yeah. As I say, I have the chairs. We're start that process for next year.
I've not yet reached out to the
Okay.
people I was looking at, but I'll get there.
Okay.
I did one last night, so I'll do one.
We'll all try it.
One at a time.
So, yeah, the new business we touched on is service, capital area service.
Capital service area. Yeah.
I think that's it. Keith, you ready?
Yeah, if, I had it, just if we, for official names, this is from Mike from last week. So Western District is East and West Feliciana Parish, Point Capee, West Baton Rouge, Iberville, Zachary, Central Baker. So some cities, some parts. So EBR Parish does get split, which is kind of weird on our school, they are separate, whatever.
They are.
Central District is EBR minus Zachary, Central Baker, Iberville, east of Mississippi, and West Livingston. So, Denham, Walker.
Everything but Albany, Springfield.
So we
they're part
break
of
in
North Shore.
between Livingston,
Yeah.
city of Livingston, something like that. Then Red Stick and Southern will be Assumption, St. James, and Ascension. And then we got North Shore is North Shore.
When
I
will
know
the,
it's a lot, but we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
It'll roll just fine.
when will the website be updated with that new?
We're in the process. Her mom's been in the hospital for like the last 2 months. So,
Oh,
it's been real touch and go. She is home today officially.
that's good.
Tammy isn't, her mom is, but Tammy's still with her mom.
Right.
So we're working through all that stuff. I'm trying to get everything consistent through Facebook and through the websites and how it all goes, and then figuring out, national branding changes and all that stuff too.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, why not do it all at once? So,
So we're working on it. We're making headway.
yeah, because then Christina's in Florida house sitting for her brother. So she's working on, I sent her some branding stuff and so a lot of it, I think the piece we're gonna go with will be a Strim Area Council, South Louisiana Scouting underneath that with the tagline, and then the Fleur-de-Lis, I think, in between.
But we're still gonna have to flirt.
Oh yeah, that's not changing. And then, Calcasieu will be Calcasieu Area Council, South Louisiana Scouting,
Right.
so.
Good deal. Anybody, any questions concerning this problem?
As of now, we've been, Thanksgiving camp, holiday camp, whatever you wanna call it, we're gonna be looking at a leader's guide and information about that.
He has sent the second round out for approval. So hopefully, they have camp character this week, so hopefully by next week. Camp will start Saturday and go through, I think Tuesday night is closing campfire. The units can come out Friday night if they want for that extra night to have the long-term camp if they need it. There just won't be any programming or food Friday night. So, but yeah, so that's the schedule. But yeah, hopefully by the end of next week, it'll be finalized, and then the following years will be ready when we wrap up this year's camp. Is the expectation.
Or you looking at doing the vertical,
Yeah, we're gonna incorporate some of the vertical stuff so we can bring in some subject matter experts. You know, it's a change until we have a whole new round of, leadership or something like that, we'll do that. It'll just be the hybrid stuff, but the first year scout program is gonna be different. I'm also hoping to have leadership for Weebo's resident camp, for that same time period.
Which would be fantastic.
Right, and we'll cycle through 4 different canned programs for the Weeblos, so if they come both winters and both summers, they have a different experience every time, different program for Weeblos and Arrow Lights. And then the first year scout stuff, which is called, I think it's Gator Growlers or something like that, and they have their own little patch where the OA patch goes that they earn after completion, so they can keep that until they get first class. If they're elected into OA, they can swap it out then, so nice promotional piece.
Nice. Yeah, that's great.
So, it's a good program, we've run it for a couple years now, and, like I said, we're 99% sure that we have our facilitator down. He doesn't wanna run it, he wants to use some older scouts to run it, and he'll supervise and facilitate. But, great leader. So, it'll be a different spin on the program.
So a lot of exciting things. Just keep positive, keep moving forward.
Speaking of merit badges and calendar stuff, there's
Merit
a
badge day.
It is
Merit Badge
live.
Day,
Registration's live online.
24th, I think July 24th at Broadmoor,
27th.
27th. okay.
27th.
The following Saturday.
The following Saturday.
After the Court of Honor.
Right.
I do like that. I don't know if it will be that next year, but I do like that.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's a lot better than.
So I know, Ms. Rice will take, if she hasn't reached out to all of you, I'm sure she'll take more counselors.
Yeah.
If she can get them, so just give her a shout and let her know if you're able to help or know somebody else who can. If it's a half day, full day, split with somebody else, I'm sure she'll take everything she can get.
Yeah, we definitely need to lend a hand for sure.
I think Kay is helping her too.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Good deal. Anything else? Right, you got anything?
I'm trying to see if
Jeremy, you got anything?
I guess so something, I started this a couple of months ago, a little bit more in advance of thinking about summer camps and things like that. And just, some more things. So it turned into a safety and some reporting stuff that I know, like a month or two ago, it came out in one of the commissioner newsletters or something. So I just kind of wanted to walk through and make sure most of us had a clue. Mike, in the stuff I'm reading, and I've got some of it in here, I think there's a little difference in what we need to be reporting to council's responsibilities, whether or not it's been there for years. I'm not sure we all understand how it works out.
Okay, so big picture, If you pause and question, does it need to be written up and submitted, it probably needs to be written up and submitted. And I can tell you over the last 6 months, I've gotten more stuff than I've gotten in the last several years. And it's okay, because what they're trying to do is get a good idea, even for near misses, or, whatever range of injury or almost injury or whatever happens, so that we can identify these things and hopefully prevent injuries or worse.
And I've got some, as we go through this, so we won't read every word, and I can send this out to everybody if you want it. It's a collection of some of the links, some, I grabbed some of the high level stuff that's in there, but just, and I think this is something we don't think of. We don't think about this, and, at every event, including this one, that's something BSA wants us to do, is spend a couple of minutes just on a safety thing. So just, do it, and I mean, they are beginning of all scout meetings, such as roundtable committee meetings, unit meetings, or an activity. So pick something that makes sense. There's some canned ones already done. You don't have to overthink this. So I grabbed one that made a lot of sense for us, and, yeah, and, that's a real problem, and Mike and I got into this discussion, like 5 ways with a parent, over an NYLT thing. So, it's just being prepared to be prepared, I think, is a lot of this, but, view of, things to look out for. Mike and my discussion was, we're at Avondale. A thunderstorm comes up that's not on the radar at 10:30. The kids are already out in their campsite. What do you do? Well, there's one patrol that's near better protection, building wise. 4 patrols aren't. So what do you do at 10:30 at night? 11 o'clock at night? Do you start moving them around, 3 miles across camp?
With high winds.
With high winds and lightning and all that, or do you, come up? So that was just think of these things, who your kids are, what, so we have 2 or 3 conversations between 10:30 and 11:30 at night of, okay, it's kind of getting bad about 1:30, what are we gonna do? Well, your group, you do this if you need to, our group will do this if we need to. And just start thinking about that,
Would that be a discussion, we'll say at Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, if you're doing something like that, that's, and we all hate to cancel or postpone, campouts or any scout activity, but we gotta be
We just gotta
thoughtful about this.
Right, but also have a plan to be safe, because, the reality is, like this storm through MLT, EJ checked the weather at 8 or 8:30, and he said there wasn't anything showing until 10:30 the next morning. Well, I'm leaving Lake Charles at 9:30 that night, and I'm driving it, and I'm like, I'm bringing it with me. I was like, I don't know what you're seeing, but I looked at radar, and it's all the way up to Shreveport, so he was like, oh, I missed it, so I was like, I don't know how. And in the event that it doesn't, what's the plan? So, you have immediate shelter and then secondary shelter, you just work through this stuff, and as long as it's not, we get the big boilers if there's, tornadoes or something else coming, but we just have to, I don't know, I've seen the reports about the Tornado Alley shifting south.
Yes. So just things we have to be careful about, be thoughtful, watch what you're doing, have a plan. Most of us know this, but that's just a reminder.
It's okay, it's good to have these conversations with
Yes.
our scouts.
Make the best decision you can with the information you have is all I say that we can do. Nobody's perfect. So that's some tips on that. There's hazardous weather training, I just re-upped mine. Just a reminder, you gotta have one of those training ones on every
Yeah.
scout event. So if you don't have somebody who's going on a camp out with the training, you need to get that done. You know, the Sweet 16 of BSA safety, if you haven't read that, it's been a while since I've read it, but it's a good list of just things to think about. Handbook's got stuff. Yeah, so just, you know, as you go down, these are just, here's some planning things you can use. I mean, BSA has a document for everything, a training for everything. We don't have to rethink this.
It's already there.
It's already there, you know, adequate supervision, you know, and a bunch of these overlap each other. You know, when it gets down to reporting, like the top one is really meant for council and district events. And I think for us, everybody in this room tends to be involved in those kinds of things. So you don't have to memorize it, just be aware, you know, we're probably supposed to do something. Then I think you know, there's some guidance for councils, some troop stuff, the 3 tools down there, the reporting tools are, I believe they're fillable PDFs, or they're a PDF, print it.
Print it and put it with your
And
first
bring,
aid
you know,
kit.
bring it with your first aid kit, your health forms, just so if something happens, like Mike said, you know, if you don't know, just write some of this stuff down, because then you don't have to scramble and try to remember a week later.
We'll have
If
to
something
fill out the
comes
form.
up-
And send it in to me.
Right,
There's no ping or penalty, it's, you know, I had a youth protection one submitted last week from a camp somewhere else on our against at. And the camp submitted a writ, you know, incident, but they also, you know, the troop all submitted just to be safe, that's okay.
right.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, really, that's gonna, a lot of that is going to be Mike's job to decide really what the right thing above that to do.
I submitted them.
You don't necessarily have to, well, you know,
Right. No, but again, they want the information even for
Right.
new misses, that's why they have a separate report for that. You know, which you like, you know, you're repelling, and you know, there's someone slips, they catch it, they stop, but,
right.
you know, that's a near miss.
And a lot of this is just, like Mike said, how do we get better? You know, our overall goal as adults or responsibility is make sure they're safe.
That's
You
it.
know, I don't always tell them that, I tell them mine is, you know, make sure they have fun, but the real one is,
Safe.
we gotta keep you safe, make sure you have fun, everything else is secondary. Make adults happy and in there.
You know, we could do for a roundtable one time, we could play people to bring their first aid kits.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And then, you know, formulate some kind of checklist so we know we're all on the
Just
same.
things that are good to have.
I know we do it with wilderness first aid.
Right. But, you know, what are effective, you know, especially some of us guys who've been doing this for a while, what do you need 50 of and what do you need 1?
Right.
You know, the snake bite kit, do you really need that anymore?
No.
Probably not. But depends on where you're going.
Right.
Maybe you do.
Well, then they tell us not to use it.
Right. But, you know, if you're 6 hours away, maybe you do. You know, if you're 6 hours away from getting help. Again, this was back to, you know, thinking ahead for summer camp. You know, Tuesday night, right? You show up at summer camp on Sunday, homesickness hits Tuesday night. It's that third day, they're used to going back home. You know, on Sunday, oh, this is one more day, wait. So some, you know, just quick things to look at. You know, take campers for a visit prior to camp starting, you know, unfamiliar place. That's one we started in our unit a few years ago after kids we knew
Yeah.
we had real homesickness problems, and so we started trying to figure out, how do you learn this in advance? And one of the questions we eventually came up with was, have you spent the night away without your parents? One young man in mind, great young man, did everything with his family, we figured, he's connected, he can be disconnected from it, that's fine. Worst one at all. And what we finally learned was, he had never been anywhere without his family. So twin sister and older sister and mom and dad, everywhere, he had never been anywhere for more than a day or two without them. Finally, by Wednesday, it's like, Dad, I've had enough of it, you gotta do something. I'm not coming to get him. Y'all do whatever y'all need to make sure he stays, I'm not coming to get him. Okay, got your permission, we're good. I've learned lots of people will say, don't let them call home.
That's the worst thing you can do.
But, it really depends on the kid. One, these days, there are enough of them that'll have the phone, they're gonna call anyway. So, on mine, sometimes it depends on the kid, sometimes that's what they need. This particular kid, we worked out, look, you can call your family once a day. Before dinner, we set up a window, this is what you can do. And it worked fine for him. So a lot of this stuff just depends on the kids.
Separation anxiety.
Yeah, what's good, distract them, figure out the times. A couple of years ago, I got surprised, like, why is it Monday and half you kids are homesick? Oh, because we got here on Saturday. And I was waiting for Tuesday to be prepared, like, oh, we got here a day early. So Tuesday night, if camp doesn't have games, do something special.
Keith, before we move too far, you were talking earlier about different forms and stuff you have to have. When we went to C-Base, my medical form, all the doctor's information, my grandson's medical form, for the ones you can download off the BSA General, it was not the C-Base form, they would not accept it.
Wow, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
They would
CBase
not,
is wrong.
I went into anxiety, seriously.
They have their
Own form, and you have to use their form, you put them side by side, they look identical, except the C-Base form has about 2 sentences at the top, that's some kind of disclaimer. And if you don't use their form,
okay, that's great to know. Double check the camp you're going to if you're not familiar with it. Double check if they have a special form.
they do.
And that's in some of those reportable things. There's a medical section. Our example is COVID. Well, there could be something regional like that they're gonna say, okay, we need another special form. So great point, Tom, to, keep up with, make sure there's nothing else they need. Swim test, another similar thing. Some camps will let you do it in advance and bring a form, some won't.
C-Base allowed it,
did they really?
C-Base allowed it. We did have to do a snorkeling test,
Yeah,
See,
I
you know
remember,
how to
yeah, I
take
remember
your
that, yeah.
but as far as swim, if you were not a swimmer, you couldn't even go.
Right.
Right.
I've had counselors on, some of those sort of special camps that like, look, we're gonna be in the water all week, that's what this program is built around. I'm responsible for you 12 kids, I have to see exactly what you can do, and the adults too. I gotta see what you can do, I don't care, we'll handle you no matter what, but I gotta know what you can do, and, then we'll take care of it.
While you're talking about swim check, I want to throw this out there, okay? The Paula Manship YMCA over off of Perkins, if you talk with the director there, you can bring your scout troop, you can have to schedule it, you can bring your scout troop and they'll allow you to swim test.
Will they sign the piece of paper?
Oh, yes, they will.
So they'll provide the lifeguard signature?
Yes.
Okay, that's
And-
great to
and-
know.
And there is a waiver that they give you for the child to take back to the parent,
Okay.
saying that you're under their direction. Okay?
Our troop has used them on and off for a long time. We've always had a member who got us in, but good to know, and they've always been great, on and
I
off.
am a member. If anyone needs to get
Okay.
in, you can organize.
On and off, they would not be willing to provide the lifeguard sign off. Great to know they will. I listed, talking about the safe, events that aren't pre-approved. So if it's not a district or a council or a summer camp thing, there's some guidelines on really, is this a good activity? So that safe thing, there's some checking things on it. I grabbed the prohibited, there's a section that's, look, if it's in the Guide to Safe Scouting and it's prohibited, you will not do this. There's 24 things.
I do have a question, e-bikes, does anybody know where we stand with e-bikes?
Okay, right there. So motorized vehicles,
E-bikes.
yep,
There you go.
E-bike.
They added it, yeah. Also for showing credit.
These are things that are not allowed, right?
correct.
Prohibited.
It just didn't say not, that's what
Prohibited
I'm,
activities.
right,
So
it
that's-
scrolled up before I got there.
Yep,
Because let me tell you what, some of them e-bikes are faster than
Yeah.
motorcycles.
Dude, didn't think so.
Slow down.
Even those motorized scooters.
I'm just saying, I didn't look at boomerangs.
So you can fly in
Air
aircraft,
cannon, potato cannons, none of that.
so you can fly in you can fly.
It
in
doesn't say
someone's
t-shirt cannon.
As long as it's not an experimental aircraft.
Pumpkins.
Is that how you read thought? Private pilot has a plane, you can go in it.
Well, the experimental would have tripped me up at certain points,
But I mean, just a normal,
right, but I have
Saying it
friends
can't be
who
part of a
have
search and
experimental
rescue
airplanes
mission.
as
that
long as
have,
it's not a search and rescue mission.
that have been, thousands of hours.
I think there's that aviation merit badge where you gotta
Right,
go out
that's
with
what I'm
one.
talking about, so I have set that in motion before, I'm like, okay, no, if it's an experimental plane, you can't do it.
Right.
Spears including atlatls.
And then so that, just some, a little bit more, okay, prohibits again. Have I jumped off a cliff into a lake at a scout camp? Yes.
Rock,
Tree climbing.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Trampoline or trampoline parks.
Excavations or entry.
These are the sellers, killers, or pyrotechnics to start fires and ceremonies.
No fireworks.
I can't say I haven't
Did what?
helped
Did what?
start a,
Start fires or a ceremony with
right.
Yeah.
And,
flame
okay,
and
so
arrow.
that's-
I mean, come on.
Solid fire starters.
In the tent.
So,
Number
Ian?
15,
Yeah, Jason,
They
your
bring it back
Viking
down.
village won't be allowed.
they
What's
take
that?
it out.
The Viking village with the
I know.
swords.
right?
I
Or,
thought
you
it
know,
wasn't allowed way back then.
so,
did too.
hey, I love number 13, so I can't escape a thunderstorm by getting in a ditch. That's not allowed.
Sure is. Oh, wow.
Louisiana's nothing but ditches.
Yeah, but would that be an excavation of a ditch or just an existing ditch?
Entry into, you know, it's excavations or entry.
That
Yeah.
comma breaks it up though.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think somebody didn't
Didn't think about
cross-reference that one.
Well, a ditch can collapse.
Yeah.
Right.
you
it. It
know,
could be like a
flash
deep ditch
flood.
that's muddy and everything, yeah.
And as kids, you know, they dig, they wanna get in.
I mean, I think that the power tools, I think we know.
We shall be ready. Interscholastic clubs.
So Mike, I see number 21 about hunting.
Yes,
I know we had in the calendar about the Avondale hunt. Is that,
we are working on that. As of right now, there will not be an Avondale hunt organized through us. We're working, Mike and I are working through some different options, like partnering with the NRA to have a group formed there that's open to the public, but then we also have to have additional, we did not get a heads up about those changes. Additional liability insurance or whatever, which we're hoping would be covered under the, but, you know, we just have to, we have to figure that out. We did have, come out and do the field testing with the deer. So I don't know, we're working on that. They also emailed us today, said that by September 1st, they want us to have all of our firearms registered through the council instead of whoever they were registered through, which I would assume whoever the ranger was or whatever. So there's a lot of changes, and I understand it, but
I just saw.
Congratulations to
Calendar.
lawyers there.
I was looking this
Yeah.
down.
yeah, that's all. We just had a
It's a
call
meeting.
today, yeah. And just figuring out what the expectations are, but, again, it's not, we would've gotten a heads up, but we didn't. And, all we got was a link to the website after the announcement. So Mike and I are working on that.
What about the hunt being on the same weekend as winter camp?
It's not,
And we could,
winter camp is Thanksgiving week, the hunt was scheduled for Christmas week. We're not doing the,
calendar supposed to.
Calendar's wrong.
okay,
in November.
all right, thank you, I'll email Tim.
I was assuming that was a mistake.
Yep, no, we're not hunting
It'd
this
be
out.
very interesting.
I'm pretty sure that violates civil. Print out all the forms in advance.
No, I'm a vet at Wildlife and Fisheries, so they're like, you wanna do what?
Yeah. I'll email her now.
You know, Guide to Safe Scouting has some forms built in. You know, forms you can do to, hey, does this make sense? A lot of this, again, events we may do as district people, you know, just think about that. There's some forms to give you a second opinion. The safety pause, you know, that's one of, yeah, is this really a smart thing to do right before you jump? You know, that's just kind of a sensible thing anyway. Safe checklist, supervision, assessment, you know, some, really an awful lot of these back up to that Sweet 16, they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
They just present them in 3 or 4 different ways.
But then there's the
But, you know, just some stuff, it's, you know, I would say if it's something you take back to your committee, your unit leaders, just, hey, look over this and let's just be mindful of the activities we're planning to make sure they're,
Doing this a while, we're a little
Right.
complacent and comfortable.
right. You know,
Which
just
is
that,
not.
Right.
just that review of, yeah, or is this still smart? Because, ultimately, like we said, it's about safety for them, and an awful lot of this is protection for us too.
So I have a question about shooting sports. Wildlife and Fisheries does a hunting and fishing day, we have archeries and BBs. If it's an outside organization doing it, can you still do?
I have to get clarification. I don't know that it could be done I don't know if it could be promoted through us.
So if it's like a pack event, you can't do it?
Yeah.
Because that's been allowed in the past.
It shouldn't have been a target.
It's shooting at targets, not,
Correct. Anything that could be hunted or,
right, it's targets.
and I think that's what the new program's called, is range and targeting or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think saying, as Mike points out, there are some changes in here that, okay, it was okay 2 years ago and it's not now. Or we don't know if it is now.
And a lot of it is a result of something that happened. Like the big change and modification in shooting sports, twofold. We're doing more activities that fall into that program, like the wrist rockets and whatnot, but there was also a fatality of a scout in Hawaii that was not insured, and that was $27 million claim, and a scout lost his life. It never should have happened if they were following basic policies. But I don't know. All the stuff that we do, there's no way we're going to be 100% safe.
Right.
But
We at least try.
and we have to follow policy. Because the insurance companies are no longer, we talked about this last month, like, bless your heart, we know you didn't mean for this to happen. Sorry, you're not following your policy, you're on the hook. We're not doing anything.
And we know for sure insurance companies will do everything they can do to not
We all know
to not
that.
help.
That's right. And like, they say no first and then.
I think that was all of it down there. Did I have anything past to say for pre?
Yeah, we'll have to update that too, because hunting's no longer in venturing. I don't know.
I mean, I pulled that this afternoon off of, but yeah, that's everything subject to review, really at any time.
I think you're only allowed to shoot now at council properties and private range.
Commercial activity,
Yeah.
commercial ranges.
I.e. people that have liability insurance.
Right.
Which Wildlife and Fisheries would have that.
Right. Because I think that qualifies, because I think that's what Mike was saying too, that it's considered a private range.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be programmatically the right kind of activity. And so that's where that, we'd have to look at what the examples are and send them in for blessings.
So helpful stuff. Y'all want a copy of this?
I'll send it out for sure.
Okay.
It's available on the Google Drive. I put it on the Google Drive and I can email out a link.
That'd be perfect.
That'd be great. And this is an evolving deal, so,
Right, I think that, that's the biggest thing of just think about it, and if you're
what you
not,
thought a year ago
if you're not sure, ask.
is different now. So just be aware of it and be,
And it'll be different next year.
Yeah. It'll be different next year. So, just stay, just stay current. Just try to be where it is. But I still think that helping people with their first aid kits, I know my troop, for example, their first aid kit, I've been telling them they need to replace it.
Right.
And it's been to the board, no one has moved it on. It's been approved to be paid for, but it just ain't moved on. I guess I'm just gonna have to work.
only other thing I can think of that I have are the combined pilot troops, and I emailed you, Elaine, and you, Rob, and Kristen, along with that. We had a call today, and so they sent out, some of the timeline and stipulations and stuff. So if it is something that you're interested in, I need to know. We've applied to be accepted into the pilot as a council. So July 22nd. They haven't told us we're in yet or not, because I think it says here, decisions be made August 5th, but we need to know from the units July 22nd, there's an application that needs to be filled out, and we have not received the application yet. Because the charter organization has to sign off on it, stating that if this pilot goes away, they agree to have the separate units again or whatever.
Go back to where it was.
Yeah. So, there's a process of, commitment that you guys are committed to having one senior patrol leader and.
Right.
Is that the motto you're using, one senior patrol leader? Because at one
That's what
point,
they said today, first time I heard it.
yeah, because at one point you said you didn't know.
I didn't know anything until this afternoon, and all I know is what was sent in those 3 slides. So that's what I have right now.
Do you know if you have to have a certain number of girls or boys to?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to have that. They just have to be existing units in order to be submitted. We did appeal that discussion to say, there are some areas that have a boy troop, we can't get a girl troop started because there's not enough girls. And if they can allow that, that would be part of this pilot as well, so that we can start having a regional local program for them. So, I can say that for the first time in, I think, my career, this is truly a pilot, because a lot of times they're already doing this.
Pre-announcement,
Yeah.
Right.
Soft rollout.
And that's not the case on this one. So, again, it's not a requirement, but if it's something you're interested in doing, great. If you just want to remain link troops, that's fine too. And so, we'll go through the process. And they said they have a number, that's their maximum number. We don't know what that is. We don't know if there's a minimum number per council in order to be accepted, because we have to designate a staff person to be the point person. There's training they have to go through. The unit leaders also have to go through orientation or training in August. So there's a bunch of checkpoints in the mix. So all we can do is, if there is the interest, we've applied, we've had a few requests. So we'll go that way.
We're still interested, Mike, and
Yeah, as soon as I get the application, I'll shoot it out. Trying to think if there's anything else. They gave us the jamboree dates, but we've had that. They're working on the budget for the cost. It said it'll be about what it was last time, plus inflation. What was that? I think it was like 1,500, 1,200 to 1,500 was the national fee last time, plus travel. Because of the pilot, there isn't, you're not able to piecemeal. We have to commit to either 20 people or 40 people in a troop, and they can't be mixed. So we could commit to a 20-person girl troop, a 20-person boy troop, or a venture crew. And once we commit to that, they charge us for that. And so we have to go from there. Now, we are working with Calcasieu naturally, and I think Monroe is interested in partnering with us too. So,
That'd be a good deal.
yeah, we have to. I mean, I don't know I think we had, 9 youth last time, and part of it was communication, organization, or whatever, or planning.
But I mean, even prior was 20 or 30.
Okay, so it's been a while since we had mass. Robert DeSellis, the Scoutmaster for 611, is the male lead for Jambo. Oh, he's the contingent lead and then the male Scoutmaster, so. We'll get that stuff out hopefully in the next couple of weeks so we can get some interest on adults. If we don't have another interested male adult, I do have a friend of mine from Michigan that is looking to be part of a contingent also, because I guess they're not having luck up there, so.
This is 26.
Yes.
I might be interested.
Okay. July 22nd through 31st of 26. And the theme is elevate.
And this could be where?
At Summit.
Oh, son.
That's our permanent jamboree site.
I think it's where we're planning to go anyway in 26.
Oh, that'd be,
Yeah. So
You'd have to go
next
twice.
year we're going Northern Tier, and following year we're going to Summit.
I don't think they let you go Summit the same year. They shut it down.
I think they do.
I don't know.
Thought I remember that. Maybe that's because it was World Jamboree.
Maybe.
Maybe that. Cause I think they still had it for a couple weeks. Or the measuring, I don't know. It would make sense with all the apparatus and stuff that they have to move in, but even then the staff, volunteer staff only gets there a week beforehand or something. I don't know. But they are going back to, this last one was just a let's hurry up and get it done thing. They are trying to go back to, the nice stage shows and all the stuff.
Mike, what's the dates on it again?
22nd through the 31st.
July.
July.
Yeah. I think there's anything else to these slides with touch screenshots, so.
Very informative.
So, again, the registration prices will start August 1st that we talked about with the program fee added in.
Right.
And we'll have those lists. We're working on the FAQ, we're working on the communication pieces, but, include all district events and all that stuff in the fee.
Within
Love it.
So,
one question on that.
yes,
For venturers that are 18 to 21.
Yeah.
What events do they get for that program fee?
it'll be, I guess we can look at that and see what else is there outside of, do they participate in camporees or no?
No. Typically, if they do, they're usually helping for it.
Okay, we can look at the options on that.
They have a bunch of college students that,
Right, I understand it, it's just,
Could we incorporate something into Camporee for ventures?
I mean, well, the problem is when they're in college, they don't have many weekends that,
we're also talking about 30 kids council-wide.
Right, that's just, but 30 kids, we could probably come up, let them,
We can figure
let
something
them
out.
climb all day.
Right,
Something, we could come up with something.
either shooting or.
Yeah, shooting. or
'Cause that's what we
climbing.
talked about for the troops in the fall when it would be a shooting weekend one year, aquatics weekend another year. Climbing, did I say that?
Right.
Climbing, shooting, and aquatics
Yeah.
would be the things that we rotate through. So, the $20 is less than what the camporee is now, so. It would just be included in that,
Seems viable.
so.
a little detail on that. Most of us that are in Cub World have been in there for a while. We don't register until December. We don't pay until December. You have Cub Haunted in this October. How's that gonna work for us that are,
Yeah, that's a great question to think through. I don't know, I'll have to get back on that, cause on the, cause I don't wanna charge, I don't wanna have, 15 different fee structures. So, yeah, let me stew on that and see what we need to do.
cause there's Cub Haunted, then there's gonna be, what events are for Cubs and Scouts? I didn't,
Spring, Cub family
okay.
events, any of your district activities.
So Derby, Spring Cub Family, and Fall Haunted.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot more for Cubs. Like if we did the shooting sports days, that would be included. Whatever programmatic stuff that there is, but bar none, it'll be spring and fall. The Cub camping.
And then for DSA, a shooting day, you said, or something like that?
It's
in fall?
the camporees, and then we'll rotate a fall event.
Right.
November of 25 is the council camporee. I don't know if that will be, that might either take the place of that event or it'd be a separate event. And then the LSU Merit Badge Day is a separate event, but the district Merit Badge Day would be included in that. So, yeah, I didn't think about cause, you know, again, you're not talking, I don't know, I guess it depends on how recruitment goes, on if it's the majority of new scouts coming in paying the 150 or what do you do?
I think right now, the majority of people probably from the old registration.
Yeah,
That
just,
last year's.
it depends on the unit.
Yeah, I'm saying council-wide, probably you had more older with a registration in January or February than you did August.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we recruited maybe 500 to 700 Cubs last year, which probably would have been a chunk of the membership on the Cub side. I don't know. We'll have to look at that and figure that out, but we'll figure that out. And if you have any thoughts on it, I mean, I don't know what. The challenge is we can't have separate fees because there's a coupon code with the national system. So it's youth are this, adults are this, unless we break it down. Exploring is separate because that's not a traditional program. So we have to go in and enter in all those things. But yeah, I wouldn't want to have. Now, if they're out of council, that's different. They have to pay the $30 per.
Right.
With the cap being at the 90. And I don't want to do that to our Cub families, but you know, so we'll have to figure that out. Whether it's prepay or you pay that portion up or whatever. Because I guess even then, what we're talking about, $65 is what the council fee is with insurance and program fee and whatever, which would still be cheaper than the 90.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll have to talk to National about this and see what we can do. Yeah, if you have any thoughts, Rob, feel free to shoot me a note. On how to do, because even at best, you're talking about 50-50. As far as the ones that will be renewing this fall.
Yeah.
Versus that, because September was I think our biggest month of registration.
Right. Yeah, I mean.
Which means August would be this year, they'd be paying in August.
Right, as long as you don't increase fees, this is the only year you have to,
Right. Correct. Well, the theory is 3 years from now, 5 years from now, everybody's on that
right,
cycle. It's just,
And everybody's doing this.
except for us that are still here for 40 years.
correct.
But yeah, I mean, it's a 6-month period that you got a cash flow problem.
Well, it's
Either half of them pay early, or half of them pay
Right,
late.
and if you think of it as a September starts the year for the scout, and then the rest of us, we come in January or February, it's, you know, but I thought about that the other day, is how, you know, trying to get a pack to go, half of them already paid,
right.
and the other half already existing members, you know, so what was that gonna cause? And the only other question, you mentioned that Merit Badge Day, the district Merit Badge Day was gonna be part of the fee.
Yeah.
Is it just gonna be first come, first serve, tough luck when you don't get in with 100 spots or whatever it is?
You know, again, that'll be a programmatic thing that we have to build to capacity.
Yeah, because I mean, we only have one on this side, we don't have one on the other side,
Correct.
you know?
It's like the nuclear Merit Badge Day that's been out for a couple months now on the website. You know, we haven't blasted it, but you know, we're probably already 70% full on that.
Yeah, last time I looked, you had 23 left, I think.
Okay. So yeah, that's about right then.
I put 2 or 3 of them in.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just what we'll have to do, and it'll, again, as we transition and build to capacity with volunteer support and manpower and going back to nominating committees and building that, you know, hopefully that capacity.
That structure.
Right.
Talking about volunteers, is there still a need for someone in finance at the council level?
Yeah, I mean, always, and the whole concept is to not have a committee of one, and that's why we're doing the hub.
Steve DeSales was approached by Tyrone back before you came in.
Okay.
And he's got long background in accounting, and he's just waiting for someone to say, hey, we need your help.
Okay.
There are about 12 of us who will line up to do that.
Yeah, no, okay, I can reach out to Steve.
Yeah, the more the merrier, man. If you know anybody that even had an inkling of wanting to do anything.
He maintained the books for UCT for 30, 40 years.
Oh, I'm done. We just need to make sure everybody's accounted for.
Okay. Anything else? Good question. Got a group of questions for me?
Anything? Everybody good?
Okay.
This meeting is adjourned.